right, and we're live. So, welcome back to another episode of the Froz-Øne Podcast. This is Drayden Bell, and I have a really, really special guest, at least to me. He is the first Black pro that I've ever met, and probably think the first pro I met throughout my swim career. Went to Arizona, swam with my head coach, and did a couple of fitter, faster things with my other primary coach, Coach Mike. Giles Smith. How you doing, Giles?
I'm doing good, Drayden. How about yourself?
I'm not doing too bad. Not too bad at all.
Good.
Just for like some of the people that may not know some of your accolades or just who Giles Smith is, you kind of want to give us a rundown of who you are and your accomplishments throughout your career.
Sure. I swam a long time. Originally grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up swimming in an inner city club team called Baltimore City Swim Club. Is near the Preakness, like the horse racing.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's down by the Pimlico racetrack where the Preakness is, and that was my first club team. Moved to a Catonsville Y team when I was 10 in Baltimore, Maryland. Was getting a little bit better, but I wasn't anything really special. Then I moved to the last team, which I stayed on through high school, which is Eagle Swim Team. Swam under great coaches. Had a great age group coach, Jeff Tagle, and I had a really good club coach, Scott Ward, somebody that I still talk to, to this day. And, I'm in my 30s. But
So, so
yeah, go ahead.
what was you gonna say?
I was going
I
to
was gonna
say,
say,
and then
what was you gonna say?
just kind of going from high school, probably the biggest thing that did in high school, I broke the national independent high school record in the 50 free with 1974 back in 2009. I was 17 years old when I did that, and I got to do that at my own high school. So that was like really cool. Got to do that at the pool I trained at every day. So I just tried to, memorize the pool and hit that perfect swim, and everything kind of clicked. I got to do that in front of my family, a lot of special people that meant a lot to me. Actually, before I went to Arizona, I went to Tennessee for a year, transferred out, and then went to Arizona. Actually, before that, I had to, because y'all can transfer now however y'all want. Y'all can just like go like 4 schools and stuff now. Back when I was, back in my day, me sounding old, when you had to transfer, if you didn't get released, you had to sit out a year. So I had to sit out a year, red shirt, enroll in community college, go back home, train with my club team. Didn't go like a best time for like 2 years, pretty much. And then I went to Arizona, and things kind of clicked just somehow, some way. It was a really good group of guys, great teammates, great leadership, good coaching, and just a good overall environment for fast swimming. You know how it is, like, when you're in that environment where guys are working hard, guys are lifting hard, everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be the big dog. And I thrived in that type of environment. And, obviously in college, had a good college career. I think I had 15 NCAA All-Americans, won 2 NCAA titles, one on 2 med, one on 4 med, won Pac-12s a couple times, 100 fly, a couple medley relay. So it was a great college career, man. Like for how it started, like my first year to how it ended, it was good, man. Because that first year, I was rough. I think I went like 21-7 my first college doing me. So.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I normally don't. First off, Margo says hi.
I'll tell Margo I said what's up.
That was yeah, for sure. She's probably gonna be watching this, so uh, did not want to forget that, and
Yeah.
then get yelled at tomorrow and be like, "Why didn't you say this?" I'll be like, "My fault, coach."
Margo is
But
incredible.
I kind
I
of
train with her almost, every day. And I mean, day in, day out, she has some of the best strokes, mechanics going into walls. Just how she set up and thought about her swimming. She's a very intelligent swimmer. And I'm sure I know that she's carrying that on as, a head coach now. So it's really cool to see that progression for her.
oh yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, I mean, day in and day out. I mean, I've never seen more thought out practices than I have with Margot, especially on sprinting side. She loves this type of environment so much, and she cares about it so much that she it's like a higher level of expectation for us as sprinters, just because she knows like our capabilities and like the requirements you need to go fast in this like generation. So I mean, I couldn't ask for like a better coach. But uh, one question, because you did bring it up, and she kind of wanted me to ask you a little bit of it. You talked about that transition. You went to Tennessee, and then you had to wait out a year, and then went to Arizona. What what sort of things like really made it click at Arizona that you didn't see at your previous schools, or just like in general that made you as fast as you were?
I think they just let me be me, and that was like probably one of the good things. You know, I was kind of a different personality, but you know, deep down, like anybody that's ever trained with me knows that I work hard, work as hard as I can. I show up every day. I never miss practice. Um, and in Arizona, we did a lot of intense weight training, and I thrived in that environment. I think I came in to U of A, I could bench like 185 or something like that, and I left, I could bench 290. I was able to front squat 400. A lot of the big lifts. I mean, I got pretty strong, and you know, short course swimming. If you're big and strong, you're going to move pretty fast. And I knew I had to be that kind of way because you know I was 5'10", so I didn't have like you know much size. You know, racing against much bigger guys you know 6'6", 6'5", 6'3", and I mean you can't be like woe is me, like I'm short, like I'm never going to win. Like you have to figure out what to do in order to solve the problem. And for me, that was underwater kicking, getting stronger, kicking, um, and just really having detailed race plans. Even as a kid, I was pretty thorough, but by the time I was in college, you know, I knew what I wanted to do stroke count wise, kick count wise. And as I got faster, it really helped.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I kind of like that. Being you, um, yeah, I like that. I feel like that's one thing that Margot's implemented, um, even here too at Alabama. Is just everyone has a different race strategy, practice strategy, and the way that you train is different per person. So she
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of knows that, and I feel like she she probably got that mentality just like you at Arizona, of you know not everyone's going to do the same thing, and that's okay. And she constantly tells us that every single day. So I like
Well,
that you bring that up.
we both had a pretty good influence as a coach. We were coached by Rick DeMont, and Rick DeMont is, you know, he could kind of look at his swimmers and tell, okay, like we can push today, and he can look at you and like tell him like you can't push today. And there were days where you know 90% of the time we do all the work, but there are days he'd look at me and be like, yeah, like you know, let's do half of this and like let's go to the well and like do some underwaters, some run dives, or like let's do some sculling, or you just throwing your fins and underwater kick, and just having that ability to trust your athletes, because that's the hard thing as a coach too. I mean, coaches want to put themselves in to do everything, but sometimes like you know you have to turn it back and rest or recover in order to get to the next level, and that's like the hardest part of swimming, because you know you everyone trains so hard in the sport. I mean, there's no one that makes it to the elite level of swimming that doesn't grind. You know, you can't not train to be in the Olympics.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, but exactly, like people think like for instance, I know there's always this feud between distance swimmers and sprinters, and they're always like, "Oh, the sprinters don't do anything because we're not doing yardage or stuff like that," or "Oh, they had a flush day," and while the distance swimmers they constantly have yards, 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 and they think, "Oh, these sprinters aren't working," and then they see like, "Wait, how are they going this fast?" And then they realize, "Oh, wait, yards doesn't always equal speed at all. Like less yards sometimes is better, like you said, or dialing it back, knowing your swimmers, knowing that, hey, they need to chill out today so then they
Yeah.
can go fast tomorrow. And that's going to be more beneficial for them in the future and stuff like that. So I like that for sure.
Yeah, because sprinters are,
Um,
you know, you think of sprinters like thoroughbred race horses. Like, you know, you can't just break the horse's back because then eventually the horse can't run. And, you know, you only make money when the horse is out there running. So you have to make sure that at times, you know, you adjust and make sure that they're not having injuries, little stuff like that. So,
well, for sure, for sure. And kind of just to continue on that a little bit, the trainings, um, variations, speaking about like, the sprinters, we don't do like as much yardage as distance, but even, kind of now today, you even see sprinters doing even less. Like I always bring up how Cam McAvoy and Brett Hawk always bring up the um, like elite level of sprinting. Like literally, they only focus on the 50, and there's like days where McAvoy would only do a suited 25 4 times and be done, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, Kind of just wanted to know what what kind of training styles did Arizona have back then? And how may it differ from like, the training styles that you can see in current generation sprinting?
Well, how we did it at Arizona was at the beginning, we would all train together. That would be always the time when I would just like be in the hurt box. I always like swam pretty bad the first meet. Is like I never swam really well the first meet. There was one time I swam well the first meet, but that was because I was sick before, so I had like a little mini rest and swam well. But any year where I was like grinding with the team, doing all the yards, the first meet was always pretty rough for me. So I always like kind of realized, at least with college swimming, like you just swim into the season. Like I know that like I don't have to be fast in September. I just got to do the work, just be there, do all the little stuff. October is where you start want to get sharper. Like I want to start going fast at the end of October. November, be fast, be you, go fast all the time. Throw on suits, like do all the little stuff. December we would always rest mid-year and shave and get our cuts, and I always did pretty well that December meet. And then it's almost like a 2 seasons. At least that's how we did it. But once we got real specific, I mean, we were in groups all the time. Every afternoon, Rick DeMont, our coach, would break us up into groups, and some days we do 4 or 5K, swim to kick, drill, stuff like that. But Tuesdays we would go fast, lactic 50s. Trying to remember, so long ago. Wednesday mornings was always the rough one because it was like aerobic recovery, and I'm like the worst aerobic kind of long swimmer. I mean, I can do stuff if it's like 200s with walls, but it's hard. Like if I got to do a bunch of 400 pulls, like there's a strong chance I might throw up.
Oh, yeah,
But
no.
yeah, it's definitely different. So like what the best swimmers in the 50 are doing, I mean, you can't necessarily do that in a college game because at least when I swim, like, NCAAs, you swim 15 times in 3 days. So like you have to be fit enough to do that. And that was like, I thought college swimming was harder than swimming professionally because professionally, like I was just swimming like 100 fly or 50 fly. And like, that's not that hard, compared to swimming 4 100 frees straight in one day, the last day NCAAs, you're swimming prelim relays, you're swimming afternoon relays. When I swam, you had to swim the 800 freestyle relay 2 times. So, I mean, it was brutal. So,
I like that you bring that up because a lot of people like, for instance, they always think like NFL, NBA. Oh, these are like the big dogs. Like they probably have like some of the hardest schedules. Like they're getting beat up by like some of the top in the world. Like they have to be in the peak shape. Swimming and honestly track at the same time because they're so similar.
yeah.
You have so many events, like you said, back to back, and even now we don't even have it as bad because we have the new
You guys get the extra
schedule for
day.
NCAA. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you don't see us doing the 8 free relay 2 times in a day. You don't see someone swimming, well, I mean, 15 races in about 3 to 4 days you still see, but just it's more spread out
Yeah.
compared to what y'all were doing. So like what you said, like college swimming is really like it's probably where you see like the peak of most swimmers,
Yeah.
unless you see like your pure sprinters and then they get a little bit older, like that 24, 25, then they're probably in their prime. But I mean, it is
Sprinting's a
worth
little
being
different.
college.
Like, you can do a 50 and be, in your 30s and swim fast, a 50, but, swimming 100 long course meters, that's pretty hard to do. Like, no matter what, your
Oh yeah.
aerobic capacity, you eventually kind of decline with age. It's the game. So, but the 50s, I
Totally.
mean, you can be older and swim really fast, especially if you have high level technique. You're doing the stuff in the weight room and you're more aware of your body, your recovery, all the little stuff you have to do.
Totally. No, for sure. And then you also brought up, I also grew up the same. I feel like every single swimmer currently has always grown up this way, where it's, August, September, you're building up your capacity. October, November, you're just getting beat up. And then as you get into late November, December, that's when you kind of start going down. This year, it seemed like it's been completely off script. It's like, I don't know if you've been watching like the swimming or whatnot. People are going fast
It's
off
fast.
the gate.
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's just a
say,
different game. People are wearing suits a little bit more, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, if you swim any meet, long course, you're going to be in a suit if you're trying to swim well. And people are just seeing that you don't have to necessarily taper in shape to swim fast. You can just, put on a suit, drop it for 2 days, and just try to go up there and rip, especially some of these relay events where, you got big guys doing 2-3 steps before these relay swings. I mean, you got guys going 18 threes already. And I mean, it's crazy to see the progression of the sport. I feel like when I swam, the depth was nowhere near what it is today. You had stars and you had the top eights were maybe pretty good, or even the top fours necessarily. But now it's like, when I swam, you win a 4,400 fly, you win NCAAs. Now it's like, you go 4,400 fly, you might not win the B final. You probably won't. Like, that's crazy. But it's just the advancement of the sport. Everyone, has figured out, you put the big suit on, you kick out 15 meters every time. You don't breathe all your breakouts. You try to bury your head at the end. And like, everyone's swimming the race the same way at the top level.
sure, totally. No, I completely agree. I mean, even now I'm watching kids that we're recruiting. Like, these kids aren't even in college yet, and I'm seeing like their time progressions. And like, back when I was sophomore, junior, I went 20.1, and I'm one of the top 10 in my class, honestly, or in like just high school in general, going 20.1. Now I'm looking at these sophomore, junior, seniors in high school. They're going these times, and it's like, oh, it's not bad. It's cute. I'm like, cute. I'm like, what are you guys going? And then you hear like the 19 highs, 19
For sure.
mids, hell, some of them going 19
19
lows.
threes. I
And
mean, it's crazy how fast
exactly,
the sport's gotten.
exactly. And it's just, I mean, it's the progression. I mean, um, it's something that I'm sure you've known Kyle Stockwell. He's continually been saying the not every 4 years, it's every single year. And I feel like that people like him continually pushing for, hey, we're going fast no matter what scenario we are, whether it's a little dual meet or it's NCAA Olympic level meets. There's going to be some fast times, and feel like that's just it's the new way of swimming.
I mean, I think it's better for the sport. I mean, you don't have to shave for every meet. I'm not saying that, but like, I always kind of didn't like the old archaic method of swimming. It was just like, yeah, we're just going to train hard and we're just going to pray that the magic taper happens and we're going to drop 10 seconds when you need it. Like, that's crazy. Like, just go fast all the time. And like, maybe you get a second, 2 seconds from what you go at your best, clip meet. But still, it's like you get used to swimming fast. You get used to executing the details the way that you want to go. I mean, you don't get any help out of those swims where, if you're a 140, 200 flyer, I mean, are you getting really too much out of going 148 and wind and cold swimming in the old Pac-12? Probably not.
Yeah. I think another aspect, I just now thought of this, people don't even think about is, everyone says like you're more happy in taper time because you're swimming fast. And I
Mhm.
mean, like you said, you constantly swim fast, you keep learning your race, your tempo, your precision details and stuff like that. You start to have more fun in the sport, and start to gain like your passion, why you truly like went into this sport. And I feel like that's another thing that's just making people go so fast. Like, they're seeing their fast times and they're having fun doing the sport again, instead of just grueling, like
For
just
sure.
just grueling training like all the time until it's like NCAA time. And it's like, no, that we're having fun because we're going fast all the time. Um, and I mean, I can even say it like myself, like we're swimming fast all the time here, and
Yeah.
we're like competitive. Like, every single one of us is competitive, so we have fun doing this fast stuff all the time.
Well, it correlates too. I mean, like, think about it. If you can swim fast in practice, like, you can swim fast in a meet. I always thought that, like, for me, practice was way harder than the meets. The meets, you just show people pretty much how you train, how strong you are, how good your start is. But like, practice is where like you have to fail all the time. in this sport. Like you have to be willing to put yourself out there to a point where it's of just no return. Like, and you have to be comfortable living in that in swimming, which is what, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. But I mean, you're in a lot of pain in your day-to-day operations. You're lifting weights, you're doing extra core, you're swimming a ton, you're sprinting a ton, you're managing, college, you're managing school. So it's a lot of stress on the body, through the training cycles of college swimming.
Right. Totally. Totally with you on that, on all of that. Kind of switch the pace a little bit. I kind of want to bring it back. So we've all heard about, just the training and stuff like that, but kind of life in Baltimore, going back to the roots.
Yeah.
Because, besides, Michael Phelps and stuff like that, me personally, I do not think about swimming when I think about Baltimore.
No.
Not at all.
Michael changed that though. He did so much for the sport. I mean, he put Baltimore on the map in terms of swimming. I mean, there were other Olympians, but I mean, what him and Bob did for decades before, he was out in Michigan, before he was out in Tempe at the very end, was absolutely incredible. So, I mean, Michael is by far best swimmer to me ever. And I mean, just what he did for Maryland swimming, just like all the little kids that watched him swim. Like when I was a 10-year-old at the Maryland State Championship meet, like winning my little 10 and under 50 fly, like the 17-year-old swimming, like breaking the American record was Michael Phelps. And like, I got to see that. And like, I was just like, I'm just going to do what he does, try my best to copy that. Obviously, you're 10, you think you can do anything, but a lot of kids got to see like how hard and how much work, like he didn't miss days for years. Like it's just really impressive. And, that's why you win all those gold medals. It's just consistent work and just being disciplined and diligent. And I mean, he's tough as nails mentally too.
Right. I was going to say that actually kind of reminds me of a little nostalgia because, I said it at the beginning of this, but not only were like you were probably one of the first 5 pros that I met in what was that, Louisville, Texas, down there in Pro-Am. But
KMSC Pro-Am. What year was that?
Ooh, I think I was an 8th grader, so that would have been like 2018. Does that sound right? 2018.
Sounds about right. I was probably there in 17, 18. I think I did it in 16, 15 as well. Did it once in Oklahoma City. So that was a good meet. I love that meet. You get to interact with kids and, just show them, what you do. And it is a cool meet. They take good care of you for that meet.
Right. For sure. Because I remember, so my first, every year I went, I was 13. Michael Andrew was there. He's also from Kansas. So, I mean, you just hear tales of him because he was out in Manhattan area. I'm down in Wichita. So he was 2 hours away. And I watch him just swim crazy. He's probably 17, 18 at the time, swims 19 lows. And I'm like, this kid's insane.
Oh, yeah.
And then that next year.
Age group 1,800 times are video game numbers. Like he was a 4,600 back when he was maybe 14 or 15 or something like that. Which is crazy.
It's 2K stats. It was it's 2K stats. Like you can't, it didn't seem like you could do this in real life, but he was doing it.
Yeah.
But it was insane. And then that next year, it was I think Cody Miller, Will Lacone. But I mean, caught me off guard because I was like, hold on, this dude, I've seen a couple of people around when I was at different meets, sectionals and stuff.
For sure.
And then they said pro. I was like, hold on, he looks like me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that, like you said, it was just watching you race in that 50 free shootout, 100 fly in the A final, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, and then I went up and talked to you one day, and you just inspired me to go even farther. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be like that when I grow up one day. So
look at you now, man. So props to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I try my best. But I mean,
that's all you can in sport.
For sure. I mean, it's the best that we can do.
For sure.
But back in your days in Baltimore, I mean, you talking about you watched Michael Phelps growing up. But what really even got you into the sport in the first place?
Okay, so long story short, neither of my parents were swimmers growing up. My dad at that
Okay.
time was not a strong swimmer. My mother, not a strong swimmer. They put me in mommy and me classes like for water safety, and
Yeah.
I like the water. Like they like throw me in, and like I was like smiling and stuff. So they were like, okay, like this kid obviously likes this, and I didn't really do anything with it. Um, in terms of swimming at that young age, in terms of competitively. Um, but I went from there, went to a backyard pool in Baltimore County. A guy named Marvin Thorpe, who actually passed away a few years ago. He taught probably over 10,000, 15,000 Black kids how to swim in Baltimore, Maryland over like a 50-year span. And so he did this all out of his backyard pool. So I was one of his kids, and I was probably the fastest swimmer to ever come from that program. But I grew up in an environment where I wasn't in culture shock when I first learned to swim, and I think that helped me at that young age. Because I grew up in Baltimore, Baltimore is a great place, but it's different. I only grew up around Black people. It's like my neighbors were Black, my family's Black, my everyone's Black, and I love it. But the thing is, in swimming, it is not that at all. And
No.
at least my first couple foundational years in swimming, I just, all I did was just go and have fun. And that's all I thought about. And it was good. Just it was an environment where it was positive for other Black kids to go have fun, learn to swim, eat a hot dog, like kid stuff. And I went from there to Baltimore City Swim Club, where, that was also, 98% Black swim team. So like my first 3 or 4 years involved in some swimming, I was around a lot of Black people. Then I went to Catonsville Y, and that was like the beginning of USA Swimming, and obviously in swimming, Black people are the heavy minority, but you know it's it was good. I mean, by then I kind of had the foundations of what I wanted to do, and for me, like I I had people that I really looked up to. I was a big swim historian, like as a kid. So like I knew about like Sabir Muhammad, who swam at Stanford, Byron Davis, who swam at UCLA, which doesn't have a program anymore. Cullen, I was a teenager when Cullen was really popping off, but Cullen was a huge role model for me as a pro. He was someone that I would pick his brain and just see what he thought, because I knew that he had been through, even at a higher level, the things that I had been through. So it was just great to have him as a resource, and look to him as the ambassador that he is for the sport, because he's one of the best ambassadors in terms of inspiring Black people to swim. Simone, all. I mean, I'm definitely leaving people out. Marissa Correa. There's so many people that have done so much. So it's definitely different, but I enjoyed the journey and just trying to be able to help those kids that look like me, just because I kind of knew like what you go through. It's just different. Like it's not bad. It's just different. Like you stand out at swim meets. Like everyone's going to look at you. Like you have to get used to dealing with those things, especially if you're swimming very well. People are going to look at you, and it's just going to be different. And I always tried to be pretty cool about it. I didn't really care about anything. I just care about like driving time. Like I was more pissed or not if my 100 fly or 200 free was swam right than any of that stuff. And I think that really helped me throughout my career.
Yeah. Sure. No, I was gonna say I like that. The progression. This must be like a Eastern thing, because well, I take that back. I knew of an all black swim team out in Kansas City, but
Sure.
um they disbanded like the year before I started swimming. So my whole entire life I'm thinking like, oh, this is just a general way of swimming. Like there's not a lot
That's my
of
cat behind us. Sorry about
I
that.
was gonna say, oh, I see you. No, you good. I was gonna say I didn't even notice until you said that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
sorry about
cute
that.
little
I can
white.
move him if you need me to.
Oh no, you good. She's good.
All right.
It's good. But no, my whole entire swim career, I'm growing up thinking like, oh, there's just not a lot of black people. And then a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Miles Simon at Georgia, and he's talking about he swam in Atlanta, and basically his whole entire career, he's been with that, and then he had the Coach Jackson, who also coached Sabir Muhammad.
So he swam
And
for the
then
city of Atlanta. Yeah, that's one of the big teams at like the Black History meets, Black Heritage meets. So yeah.
I was gonna say, and then just you now saying your first, you said like 3, 4, however many years.
First
Oh
pretty much 3 years, you know, I was in, you know, very
yeah,
similar environment to where I lived, you know, like Baltimore County is, you know, it's 60%, you know, African American. So I mean, I would say that the pool where I was learning to swim out of the backyard with Marvin Thorpe was probably 85, 90% African American.
really? Okay. Yeah, that's a. I mean, I know you said like that wasn't a culture shock to you, but to me, that's just a huge culture shock because, I mean, everyone. I mean, all my friends, both black
Yeah.
and white, we all knew how to swim because I mean, we all went to the Y's or we had a bunch of local pools that we all went to because growing up, everybody, um, practically everybody, their parents working, so they threw us in latchkey over the summers. So they would take us to the pools over the summer, and they would teach us how to swim over there and stuff like that. So everyone knew how to swim where I was at, but just like in a club setting, yeah, it's that
Yeah,
USA swimming style of
for sure.
like you said, like we're the minority. And I was gonna ask you because now
Yeah.
knowing that you've seen both sides, the side where you have us as the majority, and now it's kind of what you see in USA Swimming, where the minority. Like there wasn't maybe a culture shock in the sense of like knowing how to swim, but culture shock and just like how do I put this? Like
It's
teammate
different interests,
environment.
different things. Like, you know, like I was as a
Yeah,
12-year-old kid, I was the kid wearing Jordans, listening to rap music. Like, you know, like it's just different culture. Like, you know, I grew up like eating different
yeah,
things. Like I wasn't like, you
right.
know, now I'm all into like, you know, eating healthy, organic, everything. But when I was a kid, like it's like eating like 5-piece, you know, chicken boxes and like going and swimming 100 fly. And like that's what I knew. Like, you know,
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, I remember days. I get ready for practice. I have a Popeye sandwich before
yeah, yeah.
practice and get in there and swim fast. I mean,
Oh,
that was the way that we grew
that,
up. And
that
then
was the
now it's
fuel,
like, yo,
man. That was the fuel, bro. I
I
broke
was
that.
gonna say,
Let me tell you something real quick, and I shouldn't say this, but so when I broke that national high school independent record, um, my senior year of high school, I trained super hard, but I ate like a lot of garbage. So I swam prelims. I went 20.2 or one, and I coasted it a little bit. So I felt good about it for finals. And so I went to Burger King, had a triple bacon
ah,
whopper with cheese. Went
ooh,
swam
yeah.
1974 off of a triple bacon whopper with cheese. That's a true story.
I know you lying. I
No,
know you
true story.
lying.
True story. I'm not kidding.
Why?
But my dad made me my dad made me an organic potato, you know, all that stuff, baked potato with all the good fixings, like right before finals. I had good fuel, but like right after prelims, I was like, oh man, I need some Burger King, which is crazy because you
I mean,
know,
I can't. I was gonna say, I mean, I've done similar. Like I've gone to
yeah,
shoot. I mean, I don't know about no Burger King, but
this is back
I
then,
mean, I've
bro.
done.
I don't do this now.
I mean, I
You
went to like.
know,
I'm trying to think of where the worst place I've gone to, and I mean, I've gone to like Freddy's. I've
yeah,
done like Pickleman's. Pickleman's is like
Pickleman's
I
is all
think
right. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I was gonna say it's not bad, but I mean, but I used to get like them 14-inch like pizzas from Pickleman, so I mean like that greasy. But yeah, not
yeah.
no Burger King. Cause I stopped eating Burger King when I was ooh, when I was lit. I mean, actually I take that back. Burger King, Brahms, McDonald's every now and then, they saved my life my
Yeah.
senior year.
I was a big McDonald's,
Cause
Chick-fil-A guy at U of A. I ate a lot of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A there.
oh yeah, I
But
was gonna say
you know, when
they
I
got
took
a
the swimming more seriously, I just looked at diet. You know, I was like, okay, I'm eating
mm,
Chick-fil-A and swimming pretty good. Like, what happens if I eat all organic stuff and like stop, you know, eating like this and got a lot faster. So it really matters. It's something that I wish when I was younger I really like kind of paid attention to. But when you're young, you can kind of get away with a lot of stuff. And that was just one thing that I think that really helped take my swimming to the next level as I got older.
For sure. I'm gonna say, um, where were we at before we went off stream? I'm not even trying to. Oh, this is where I was.
Yeah.
You know, continuing on, like, we talked about, those differences. I mean, we clearly just talked about the ways, like, even with our food and stuff like that. But you know, Baltimore growing up very, in the black culture.
Yeah.
And as you picked up, probably in high school and stuff like that, because I know as kids, like, we do so many different sports. Like, people are like, "Oh, you do swimming, that's cool," but you still probably hooping and stuff, though, right? And, like, those mixed cultures.
Yeah.
What did the USA swimming culture feel having, like, a successful black swimmer in Baltimore, and then vice versa, your black colleagues, so to speak, like, kind of seeing you successful? How did they kind of express their feelings on that?
I've gotten from black people a ton of love, especially people that grew
Hmm.
up and like saw the journey, like people that saw me from a little like 10-year-old kid. Like I was doing my swimming back then, and then it was like 10 years
Right.
later, I was like, he's on TV swimming, holy cow! And then it's just like 4 years after that, it's like still swimming. It's just like they see the work that you put in, and they respect that. And, swimming culture, they respect if you work hard in the sport, it doesn't matter, who you are, what you look like. That's one thing that I
Right.
think is the beautiful thing about swimming is the clock doesn't lie. It doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care about anything, man. It just cares about who gets that hand on that wall first. And I always try to live with that type of mentality. You know, I might not have won every race, and I definitely didn't. But I always thought that, hey, like if you're gonna beat me, like I want you to hurt for it. I want you to get out and really be hurting because I'm gonna give you everything that I have, and I might throw up after. So if I'm throwing up, if you beat me, I want you in the hurt box a little bit.
Right. Right. Um, I love that. No matter if you hurt, the clock don't lie. I mean,
No,
you
it's
hit it
ruthless,
right on the nail. I mean, it's
ruthless.
real. Uh, I was to say, it is ruthless and it is real. I mean, it does not care if you are blue, yellow, black, green, white. It don't lie. I
If
mean,
you fast, you
I was gonna say,
fast. So
exactly. And I mean, I feel like that was something that when I grew up, it took people a minute to realize that, because Kansas, we real big in track and basketball.
yeah,
They're
football
if
too. Out in which
football, I was gonna say out in Wichita. Yeah, I was gonna say we got some nice little JUCOs out here in Kansas, but
yeah.
I was gonna say if you wasn't one of those three, especially as a black dude, they looked at you all
Look at you,
funny
look
and
at
be
you, look
like,
at you, a little
"You're like,
strange, man. I've had, we
yeah,
all
yeah,
have those.
exactly."
You're like, you
I was gonna say,
swimming?
but I
You
mean,
sure?
I but that's how it was. I mean,
This is how it
growing up,
is. And
like
that's okay.
I ran track. I mean, it was okay because when in elementary they was like, oh, it's just like a little thing. He's still doing the basketball, the track, and I mean, I was fast in track too. Everyone knew I was one of the fastest in my class. I used to have to race up. I was like, 10, 11, 12. I was
Yeah,
racing
race it up.
15 to 18-year-olds and stuff. Always had to race up. But even like in middle school, I was 6 foot when I was 12, and
Oh,
everyone's like,
man.
why are
What
you not
size
on the
shoes you
basketball
wear
team?
when you was that age?
When I
Damn,
was that age,
6 foot.
I was probably a 12, I was like 12, 13. I'm wearing a size
Yeah.
14
So
now.
you were just you were a big kid.
Yeah, I was always, I didn't fill in until like my junior year of high school, but I was always like tall. I was a
Yeah,
little slender, but then, I got 17, 18, puberty hit. I
yeah.
started
Sure.
filling in a little bit, but everyone's like, why aren't you hooping? You could be our starting center right now. And it's like, if you had saw, like, I tell them all the time, come watch me at practice, and they'd be like, yeah, yeah, just come to the hoop. And then they saw, like, because back then we had Instagram, but everything was on Facebook. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden they saw on the Facebook, oh, what, he's like nationally ranked and stuff like this. And then
Winning state
that's when it was like,
titles, doing big stuff. Like, yeah, that's how people
mm-hmm,
usually, you're going to get those kind of sneers and, people like, oh, swimming, like, but if you're out there doing the work always pays off. It doesn't matter if it's swimming, if it's business, if it's, anything that you really want to do. If you're out there really willing to pay the price, that's like the secret sauce that I've learned, and I don't think I'm very wise, in my 30s or anything, but, if you're just willing to put yourself out in that awkward position and be uncomfortable, greatness is going to find you. It might not be when you want it, but you'll be great at what you do if you can live being uncomfortable.
Sure. I like that. I like that a lot. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real. I was gonna say one question I did have for you was
Sure.
Hardest life lessons that you learned in the sport of swimming.
Give me like 30 seconds to think about that.
Ooh, I was gonna say
Hardest.
Take your time. I was gonna say I know it's gonna say it's a.
Other people won't understand your journey. I'm talking outside people, because it's almost like a journey. Like if you take swimming to the elite level, it's, you're in the game. It's like you're swimming, you're lifting, you're doing yoga, you're getting massage therapy, you're doing cryotherapy, you're getting Normatec. Like when I was swimming professionally, it was a full-time job just swimming. Like, I mean, I was spending a ton of time. Like this is all I did. And I would just say that, a lot of regular people don't understand all that goes into it. I mean, like if I had a swim mileage odometer, it's busted now, but I don't want to know how many miles that would be. I mean, I was 14 years old. I was swimming 9 to 11,000, 8,000 yard workouts. Like, I mean, like I grew up training. So it's like, and a lot of people that grow up in this sport, like they train to get where they are. Like you just don't show up and make the Olympics in swimming. It's like you've put in at least 10 years of work in most cases to be there. Men's side, maybe more, because the men tend to be a little older.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I'll say I like that.
Let me see if I can think of one more.
I was gonna say, because I had that, and I was also going to ask you a little later, like tips for the younger generation or just like the current generation. I'm gonna say. That's already a big.
Get you one more. The next generation, I have a couple of answers for that. So like the big thing that I've learned out of swimming, you only reach greatness by failing. So like every time I had like the season where I didn't get what I wanted, I was so upset and mad the next year, like that I trained so hard. Like my junior year, NCAAs, I had 3 long walls in the 100 fly final. For prelims, I qualified second. I was long on the first wall, long on the second wall, long on the third wall. If you do that in NCAA final, you're going to swim bad. I got 6th. I was like distraught. I was so mad. I remember like, we were in off season when swimming's over, and like, I was just like, how can I fix this? And like, it like sat with me for like a year. And that year I came back, man, like straight out the gate, I was like, I'm going to kill this and just go. And the next season I went about a second faster, swam a lot better. That was the first time I broke 45 was that next season when I went 46 in that final with the long walls. So it's just like when you fail, because the next year I just obsessed about hitting walls. We had a 15-meter pool at Arizona at the time. And I just thought like, if I can swim a 60-meter fly, like perfect, sticks every wall, like, stick, bounce. You can swim 25 yards when you have time to make the adjustments. Because in a 15-yard pool, you do the kick out. You got one stroke to figure this out. So I did a lot of that stuff the next year, and I swam a lot better. But that would have never happened. Like if I had gotten second or third, I just would have did the same thing that I did, and the results probably would have been the same. But because I was so upset, I failed. You push to the next level. The failures that I had at, in my opinion, at Tennessee led to at Arizona having a lot of success. My senior year, I didn't win NCAAs in the 100 fly. And I was upset about that. But, a year later, I win Pan American Games. Like, it's all, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but you don't learn from the wins. It's like you learn from losing. You learn from like getting your dreams crushed and having to pick yourself back up and do it all over again and getting a different result by your actions, you know?
Yeah. No, totally. That's a great one. Because I've
Yeah.
junior year through or junior year of high school through last season, I've definitely experienced like what you said, that you don't experience the winning through until you fail. I don't know how many people out here are going to be watching this are religious, but
Yeah.
me as a Christian, I always my favorite. I have it on my Bible, every single Bible. It's highlighted Romans 8:18. Um, Essentially, it's saying the failure and pain that you're currently experiencing will not compare to the joy that you will have in the future. And that is the exact same thing. You will not experience that joy until you have that pain right now. And I mean, junior year, I peaked in high school. I went my fastest times, at least in my 50. And
Yeah.
then it seemed like I plateaued senior year. I had a couple of best times in like my 100 and my not off strokes, but me as a sprinter, I'm a 50 dude. Coming to freshman year, I went my best time like on the dot, went 2010, and I'm like, dude, I thought I'm supposed to get faster in high school or college. Sophomore year, I keep getting injured, and
Happens.
I mean, I went faster, but at the same time, it was like, dude, this isn't what I came here to do. I'm thinking, is it the school? Is it me? Or what's
Yeah.
going on? And then
You do think that, you know, I mean,
uh, I come in, I get what is it, 2 months of solid training over the summer, and all of a sudden it's just like I exploded. Like no injuries, no like it's just me and the swimming. I am just like pure focus. It's just like I'm thinking, like you said, it's like I'm gonna kill this
yeah.
because um I had a meet in Atlanta Classic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed Olympic trials, and I missed it by the exact same amount of time that I did when I was in high school in 2020. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not doing this 2 times in a row. I'm not missing trials 2 times in a row. And then 2 weeks later, I get my cut. And it's that same thing. It's like you can't experience that success until you get that failure.
Absolutely. I mean, our sport is rooted in that. You know, every champion, Olympic champion, world champion. I mean, they've had races where things have not gone their way, even at the
Yeah,
highest level. If you go up to guys with tons of gold medals, they all have races where they're like, I wish I could have that one back. It's part of it, but it's who you become on the journey. That's the one thing about this. It's like the medals and all the accolades, all that stuff goes away, but it's the person that you become on that journey because you had to become somebody different to achieve that stuff. And that's like the hard
right.
part because you have to, upgrade your level of standards, and practices. Like you want to go 43 in the 100 fly. If you can't kick out 11 kicks every wall when you're going fast at practice, you're not going to go 43 in the 100 fly. I'll tell you that. Like
Right.
like there's a certain level of standards that you have to do in order to have success in the sport. So I always kind of believed in that just because I don't know. I felt that I didn't have much margin of error with my size. So I was just like I got to be a technician to have any chance. So
For sure. Totally. I hope one of my teammates, his name's Tim, he
yeah,
hears this and watches this because he's in the same boat. He's about 5'10". Um, we call him Boss Baby. Sorry for airing that out, Tim. But I mean, it's the same thing. He's about 5'10", and it's like his
yeah,
margin of error. He practically has none because I mean, he has some of the best DPS I've ever seen. He used to whoop my butt when I came into college, on least on all of that stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, like you said, you got to be a technician, experience that failure and learn and grow from it. So, um, but nah, I don't really have much for you except for kind of asking what's next for you. I know you've been out of the swim realm for a couple years, but you've been grinding in that real estate genre for a little bit. How's that been going?
It's been going great, and I'm still pretty involved with swimming. I do quite a bit of fitter faster swim tour clinics. So I
Oh,
mean,
that's right. That's right.
I'm probably on the road 35 weekends a year, honestly, and then I do real estate full time during the weeks. Do a couple other entrepreneurial activities. So there's always something that's moving. I try to coach kids, private lessons, mentor kids. Try to give back a little bit in there too. But I mean, that's really what it is for me. It's a lot of swim clinics with Fitter Faster. I love working with my kids, teaching them starts, underwaters, not don't breathe inside the final flags of your finishes. It's just the little things that if you want to be great at the sport, like you have to understand at a young age. So just trying to give those kids those basic level foundations. Really thankful for Fitter Faster for obviously the opportunities to just go around the United States. I mean, literally every weekend and just teach swimming. How cool is that? So, and real estate's awesome. I got a pretty cool house under contract in Scottsdale, which is going to close on the 26th of November. And right before we got on, I'm negotiating a contract for a home in Central Phoenix that we're trying to get closed middle of December. So we're out here grinding. I got a fix and flip that is still in the market as well. So we're trying to move some properties. So it's good. But I've really enjoyed real estate. You can do really well in it. It takes time to understand contracts, understand how to sell, understand how to be personable, professional, how to execute at a high level. But once you understand the basic concepts, you can do pretty well in it. So it's something that I will probably do until I'm an old gray man.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, I remember you've been doing this for a while. I was gonna say, if I ever do move out to Arizona, I know who I am going to be contacting for sure.
Appreciate you,
Um,
man. It's all love.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for reminding me about the fitter faster stuff too, because I was actually in a meeting the other week with Coach Mike. Told
Yeah.
him
Coach
that
Mike. Yeah. Like I said, what's up?
I was gonna say, yeah, he was talking to him, chopping it up, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, that dude's on another level with that fitter faster stuff." Like he was telling me stories of you would be like around the country every weekend. I was like, "Isn't he doing real estate too?" He's like, "Yeah, he's built different." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wow, okay."
You just gotta want it. I mean, that's the one thing I tried to think what's really helped me is I took the mentality that I had with my swimming and I applied it to the next thing. Cause it's hard when you retire. I mean, my retirement was rather sudden too. I got hit in a car accident by somebody that was texting and driving. So they totaled my car. I tore 3 discs in my back and herniated 2 discs in my neck before 2021 Olympic trials. Yeah, because it was COVID. Because I was healthy during COVID, so it well. And then COVID happened, and I got in a car accident, and that ended my career. I never really talked about it or anything, but it's just change and kind of put me in a different direction. But I'm super, blessed to still be involved in the sport in many levels, and I see a lot what's going on, and I love swimming, man. Swimming, changed my life. Like I don't know where I'd be without swimming. So,
Right, for sure. I was gonna say I didn't even know about that. Dang. I was gonna say sorry to hear about that. I know it's
no,
a couple
it's all
years late,
good.
but
Everything happens for a reason, my man, and I'm still here. I'm healthy, back in good shape
exactly.
again. It took me a good year and a half probably to really recover from it. I just laid low during that period. I was just doing therapy. Shout out to Dr. Nick Hattinger, Streamline Performance, got me right. Um, you know, After that accident, and it was definitely a lot of adjustment, but I'm healthy. I feel good, and I'm just enjoying life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good to hear that, man. Good to hear
Yeah,
that. Well,
you got
I
Hey,
was gonna
one
say
question for you. You got afternoon practice?
okay. I do not. Nope, we do not. We do not do afternoons on Tuesday, Thursdays, thank God.
Oh snap! Y'all play 2K, FIFA, or Madden?
Oh, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I've not played 2K since 22. No, 23. Gonna
Yeah.
say it put they pressed the recycle button on that game, and I said, "Man, you is not stealing that $100 from me anymore." I was
Nah.
like, "Mm-mm." I'm gonna say otherwise. I was gonna say every single year I get my player, my little 2-guard demigod build, hit the park and just shimmy shake, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably got
But
99
yeah, man.
handles.
Oh, bro, I think back in COVID, yeah, I was not seeing any sunlight during COVID. I
COVID was different. We were all
97
inside during COVID.
97 overall. Yeah, bro.
It was
It was
wild.
bad. It was bad, but no, I do need to get back on the game again. I've been a
Yeah,
little busy, but now I got some more free time on my hands, so I'll probably get on the game a little bit.
for sure, man. Well, I just want to wish you nothing but
So,
health and continued success in this season, and hopefully you tear it up. SECs, NCAA's. I'll be watching, man.
yes, sir. Appreciate that. Same to you. Same to you.
Yeah, proud of
And
you.
for sure. For all my viewers, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next podcast or vlog. Both of them will be popping out very, very soon. Trust me. But yeah, appreciate you, Giles, for hopping on. And yeah, that's all I got.
Hey, man, take care. Be easy and enjoy that afternoon off of practice, my guy.
For sure, for sure.
All right,
All right.
man. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Yep.